things we do. Yeah, so we did that lesson and then Steve's like, that was horrifying. And we've got a week of it coming. Anyway, so what we're doing, we're going through fascia this week, for the next few weeks. And so fascia is a connected webbing that runs through your body. If in theory, I mean, like you're going to test it, if you to take all your bones out, you wouldn't fall down. So this webbing connects everything together. It apparently, like in the first dissections, when they're sort of looking at the body, you just cut it away and then go, oh, look at the heart, and oh, look at the muscle in the leg and whatever. Like, well, all this stuff don't need this, but actually, it's the glue that holds you together, really. So, like an orange, when you unpeel it, it still is connected. And some people, it's you can have really slack fascia, and I would say that until I started like trying to do weight bearing exercise, that was me. So like hypermobile people have got very, very lax fascia. It allows them to do really extreme movements. I mean, that coupled with having joints allow it as well. And then you get other people that are like, so weight trainers, they've over stiffened, they've muscled up, and then the fascia's got really stiff. And I guess as you get older, it stiffens. And stresses in your life, your body kind of learns of what you do and who you are, and it becomes it. I have to kind of remind myself of that a lot. So yeah, activity changes the shape of yourself. So so with the fascia, the one I want to look at this week, with this, which one do I want? There's 4 main ones. There's like other ones through your arms and stuff. But we've got, I want to look at superficial front line, which, funnily enough, is from the front of your body. So it goes from the tops of your feet, up your shins, up your thighs, and then it kind of connects into somewhere around about there. And then you've got from your groin right up into your throat. And its purpose it's just all about creating balance through your body. And I would say that if you've had a stressful life, I think somatics, I don't know if I've talked to you about somatics before, so I teach that as well. Somatics deals with these ideas that we're governed by reflexes. So like we've got red light reflex, so startle reflex is another name for it. So if I think I've got a massive that. So if anybody jumps out on you, I go, and so the body kind of tightens up. And so front line of fascia is definitely that part of it. So like I met somebody once who was very nervous disposition, and when she's relaxed, her toes were like this, and I'm thinking, my feet are on high alert, aren't they? They are not relaxed feet. So if you can imagine that as that tightening of fascia right from your toes, right to your throat, she's already tight, she's already kind of working against herself. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, red light reflex is certainly to do with this fascia. There's a tightening at the front of your body. Next week we're going to be looking at backline of fascia, and that runs from the sole of your foot up your calves, right up, and then it goes over your head onto here. And so if you can imagine that one, so like with a lot of us have got, I'm saying I've got all the fascias going on here, all the reflexes. So if I jump out, and then, but I used to stand very happily with my hips forward, and so this in essence is tightening, you're creating a little bit of tension in that lower back. So that's the back line of fascia that we're looking at, and in somatics terms, that's called green light reflex. So some people, when they're scared, it's like that fight or flight, like jump out on somebody. And then in a few weeks later, we're going to be doing the lateral line, so lean in a little bit, try to open out those lines, and then we've got spiral. If you've got injuries, then you might kind of learn a bit more about them. So I've currently got lateral, because I have a tendency to droop because I had accidents and stuff. So anyway, then after that, we're going to bring it all together into one big practice. So I'll shut up and get on with it. So we're going to lie down first and start. I hope it's warm enough for you. Just make yourself nice and comfortable, knees bent, close your eyes, and just tune in to yourself at the start of the lesson. Hello. my word, I have no idea where you're going to go. Sorry.
I thought we started at 2:45.
No.
Did we?
Happy New Year.
What's the name?
It's September, we've been home, isn't it? Sorry, it's 2014. Do you want to go there, like teacher's pet? You can. Sorry. Alright.
It's not been well. I put it down for
Oh. I have to think whether or not it was 20 past whether or not I have a lesson. So I teach a lesson on Friday and that's definitely 20 past. So I was like, is it 20 past?
Why have I missed this?
I have no idea. Dropping music, that's what I'm trying to do. Right, okie dokie. So you've now got to guess the theme. I might mention it, then you'll know
Lying
it.
down.
Yeah, lying down. So she's settling down, so all the curves in your spine and that little curve of the neck is called a secondary curve. And then moving your awareness then into the rib cage, and that is a primary curve. And then into the lumbar spine, and that is a secondary curve. And then into the hips, and that is a primary. And then following your awareness all the way down into your legs, and just even the creases at the back of your knees are a curve that's really important. And then into the backs of your heels. Notice a little gap between your calf and your heel. And then into the sole of your foot, then awareness into the bridge. Again, this curve is quite important. And then even into the creases between the ball of your feet and your toes. Just notice those little curves there as well. So it's said that any kind of flattening of those curves is going to kind of show up somewhere else in the body as maybe a bit of pain or a bit of discomfort. Or even kind of a lack of strength. So we're starting now our journey into yoga just through our breath. So I just want you just to kind of firstly become aware of your in-breath. And then become aware of your out-breath. And then noticing within that when you want to stop breathing. So when you take an in-breath, notice when your in-breath kind of wants to turn around. And then noticing within that when you breathe out, when you want to turn that breath around. And then starting on the in-breath, when you want to kind of turn that breath around, just take a bit more breath in. So just expand the lungs a little bit more. And then as you take your breath out, rather than just kind of stopping the breath in its natural point, guide the belly button in towards the spine. And then let that breath go. Just relax the belly, take the breath inwards and allow the belly just to kind of naturally expand. And then when you want to kind of turn that breath around, just kind of bring a little bit more breath in, expand the lungs a little bit more. And then when you want to breathe out, just relax. Just let the breath ooze gently out. And then bring the navel in towards the spine to take the breath completely out of the body. Relaxing the belly button, breathing gently in, just to let the belly naturally expand, and then just take that little bit more breath in. So it's an active and inactive in-breath, like a passive out-breath, and then an active out-breath, and you bring the belly button in. And then again, it's a passive in-breath, but then becomes active towards the end, as you just take that little bit more breath in. And then the passive out breath that becomes active towards the end. And all you're doing in there is just you're becoming aware of the elasticity of your breath. Maybe tuning into fascia in action, the expansion you can feel through the skin, through the muscles. And that deep contraction that you might feel as you bring the navel into the spine, tuning into fascia in action. So from there, just pausing, and we're going to bring our feet in towards the spine if you haven't already. So stand your feet up in the style of me going down a ski hill. Oh my days, you missed that. So I went skiing this weekend and I was absolutely awful. I was on my back going down with my feet tucked in just like this, screaming. So bring your focus to your feet and bring your focus to your tailbone. So you can just feel that on the floor. Notice your hips. And you can just now place one hand on your belly and then one hand on your ribs. And as you take an out breath, I'd like you to take your belly button into your spine and feel that as a flattening of your back. And as you flatten your back, do you notice how your hands come towards each other naturally through the movement of the skin and the bones and the muscles? And then gently rolling the tailbone forwards into the floor, allowing that tummy to lengthen, feeling your lower back arching, and just noticing how your hands come away from each other naturally through skin, bones, muscles. And then again, exhaling, belly button comes in towards the spine, noticing how the back flattens, those hands come towards each other. Inhaling, arching the lower back. Again, just feeling how that movement is felt through the entire self. You might be comfortable enough now, just take your hands away and just kind of feel the movement flowing through the bones. Noticing how we've got contraction in those hip flexors every time you flatten the back. And then how, as you roll that tailbone forwards, you can maybe even feel your chin coming towards your throat a little bit, the back of the neck lengthens. And now as you flatten your back, you might feel your chin come away from your chest and the neck shortens. So you're kind of mimicking tight fascia through the front of the body. And then you're mimicking opening out that chest fascia from the groin to the throat. So just notice that as a movement, how you feel it. And then we're going to pause and just take your hands a little bit away from the body with your palms up. And then visualize it, just kind of picture your arms from your hands to your shoulders as being like a long rolling pin. And if you were to roll your palm in towards your waist, in towards the side of your body, you would have to roll over your little finger, palm would go flat, you'd roll over the thumbs, and then you could then squeeze the arms tightly into the body. Just noticing doing that, how your shoulders kind of lift up off the floor, the back presses into the floor. And then from there, just relax the arms, let the palms come to the floor, and then again, roll those palms away, palm turns up. Just notice how we get that sense of openness through the chest, and then from there again, rolling over, little finger, palm comes down, fingers back to the hands, roll in towards the body, that's it. Let that movement go into shoulders, across the chest. You might even feel it in your lower back as the belly tightens. And then kind of just soften away from that. Roll those arms gently away. And maybe even as you roll those arms away, tip your tailbone forwards. Allow that lower back to arch away from the floor. And then again, rolling the hands in towards the body. And you might even just kind of want to enhance the sensations of tightness. So squeeze the arms in, and without moving the feet, try to push the feet forwards and away, and that will flatten the back even more. And then again, roll those arms away, and then just tip the tailbone forwards. Open out the body. One more time, rolling those hands in at your own speed. Squeeze, feel the shoulders lifting up, so you're tightening the pecs. That's it. Bring the back of the hands in towards your body. Palms turn out. And then softly roll the hands away. And then maybe as you roll the hands away, just try to turn those little fingers backwards towards the wall behind. That will open the chest a little bit more. Tip the tailbone into the floor. And then roll the hands back in, flattening the back. So as you bring the backs of the hands in, hug those arms deep into the chest, in towards the side of the body, chest tightens, back flattens. And then again, slowly unwind, roll those hands away, tip the tailbone into the floor, and again, you're trying to then roll those little fingers back towards the wall behind, opening the chest. And then we're going to pause. Just let that movement go and bring your awareness into your feet. So bring your soles of your feet together. Drop your knees wide, so moving into Baddha Konasana with the leg. Music's doing weird things. And just from this moment, just think of your feet a little bit. And I want you just to, without moving your feet, try to push your feet towards the front of your mat. And that should have the effect of flattening your back. And then without moving your feet, try to pull your heels in towards your bottom. And that should have the effect of lifting that lower back off the floor and tilting your pelvis forwards. And then again, without moving your feet, try to push your feet forwards, back flattens. And without moving your feet, try to pull your heels in towards your bottom. And again, that lower back begins to arch. And just do it gently. And from there, again, you might notice that tightening effect in the tummy and the opening effect in the tummy. So again, we're manipulating the fascia along the front line, tightening and opening. And then pausing, and we're just going to bring those arms into the story again. So starting with the backs of the hands on the floor, we're going to take those arms in towards the side body, so roll over the little fingers, roll over the thumbs, squeeze those arms tight to the side body, and as you do that, try to push your feet forwards. Feel how that back flattens, the tummy tightens, the chin lifts, the shoulders float away from the floor, and then exhale, melt, relax, let those arms roll away. At the very end of the movement, just try to pull those heels in and try to roll your palms away towards the wall behind. And exhaling, flattening the back, rolling those arms in, squeeze the arms tightly into the side of the body, backs the hands towards the side of the body. And then again, slowly releasing, roll the arms away and tip the tailbone away. We'll just do one more of those, flattening the back, bringing the hands in, squeezing. That's it, so that's it, roll those arms in, try to bring the backs of the hands in towards the waist, that's it, push the feet away, tighten that lower back, and then exhaling, roll the arms away, palms turn up, and then just try to bring the hands to point towards the wall behind. Beautiful. Relax from there and just slide your feet to the end of the mat and just pay attention then again to the sensations through the back of your body. That little movement's called the flower. It's a somatic movement. I think it really highlights the fascia that we're trying to release through the front of our bodies. So let's extend our feet up towards the ceiling. So just pricking maybe one foot up or both feet. Spread your toes and then point your toes. So in pointing your toes, again I mentioned that fascia starts from at the tops of your foot, goes across through your shins all the way to the tops of your thighs. So you kind of, stretching the fascia down the fronts of your feet and into the fronts of your shins. So point the toes and flex the foot. So flat foot, ballet dancer. You might kind of feel it through the skin. And then circle your feet. And then let's bring ourselves to seated. So push your feet forwards, roll up, and take yourself into child's pose. So make yourself like a zombie. I'd be a terrible zombie. And then take your forehead down towards the floor. So have your belly resting on your thighs. Get high on your fingers. So you're going to have your wrists and your elbows off the floor when you come down. Fabulous, that's it. So right hand on your fingers so you can feel the wrists and the elbows off the floor. As you settle down into child, notice what's going on through your bones. So from the back of your head, you've got space into your lower back, down into your hips. So you're kind of extending this back line of fascia at this point. But the consequence of that is that you are tightening the front line. So just bring your focus to your pubic bone. Notice how it's kind of curled up a little bit towards your throat and you've tightened the tummy in order to lengthen the back of your belly. But there's nothing wrong with that, just enjoy it. Enjoy breathing into your ribs, enjoy breathing into your lower back. So then let's flatten the palms and then just gently push into your shins to lift yourself up, and then bring your focus into your pelvis. Bring your focus into your belly. Bring your focus into your chest. We're just bringing ourselves into a kneeling plank. So from there, imagine that you're standing up. In essence, a plank is kind of imagining that you're standing up from your knees to your hips to your collarbone with your hands out in front of you. So just ask yourself, are you banana in? Is your bottom back? Can you kind of almost stand tall on your hands and knees? And then let's untuck your toes if they're not already. Let your hips come forwards, let your belly lengthen, resting into your hands, elbows bend. So you're opening that front line of fascia. Bend your arms and come down onto your tummy. So you're coming back into neutral. So for a moment, just think of what neutral feels like. In essence, that's what your plank's meant to feel like, and it's very hard to get there. From here, push into your hands, rising up. Use your hands to push back. You've got gloves on. Sink yourself back. Oh my days, is it that cold? I'm so sorry. Right, bring your hips back towards your heels. Inhale and push up through your shins. My aim today is for you to get rid of those gloves in this lesson. I want to get you really hot, that's it, settling into your plank pose. So again, picturing from knees to hips to collarbones. And again, if you want to, you can push back with your heels. So again, as though you are standing up. So you're tightening that front line of fascia, stiffening it all up. And then drop your knees, untuck your toes, let your hips come forward, push down with your hands, lengthen the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, bend your elbows coming down. And then sweeping your nose, look to the sky. Push with your hands and again sink back. So use your hands to take your hips back to your heels, soften down. Inhale, rising up, weight going into hands, starting to find your own planks. Again, toes down, knees down, knees up if you wish. Again, witness, picture the curve to the back of your neck, rib cage, lower back, as they would be as you were standing. Drop your knees down, let those hips come forward, push with your hands, rising up, elbows bend, coming down. Inhale, rising up, look to the sky, and again push with your hands, sinking your hips back towards your heels. And then let's take a seat. So you can always change your position at this point. So we're going to move into downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, in essence, for me, a happy dog is one where your spine is as it is if you're standing. And when we do our dogs sometimes, when we turn upside down, it's very easy to lose track of that. And I'm always, for a minute, thinking, is this right? Am I doing too much? So things that can go funny in a dog is if you find it difficult to have your hands up directly over your head, you're going to have your hands here. So already your dog's going to have pressure into your back a little bit. There's already going to be a bit of a roundness in your back. So I would advise is maybe go, if you notice pressure here, like a little bit of a roundness, a tugging of your ribs in to go wide. That should then enable you to get your spine nice and tall. I was guilty of the following thing. So yeah, one of the things about having like really lax fascia is and sort of crazy joints is that you hypermobile. I think I'm still a bit. I'm trying not to be, but you can take your arms out of range. So like my arms are kind of behind my head, and that's because my shoulders have got quite a lot of flexibility. So I often also see within in a dog that people have got this, and then they press the chest back, and also like some forms of yoga, one of the instructions is, and I think it's trying to be helpful, but in some people it's unhelpful, is to press your chest back towards your thighs. So and then you're going into a back bend, you know what I mean? So your back's kind of going as though you're going to go into wheel. So for me, I'm trying to find that I'm in my dog now with sense of neutral. Neck still has its shape, lumbar spine, rib cage still has its shape, lumbar spine still has its shape. And then I'm kind of witnessing my tailbone and I'm thinking, can I point it to the ceiling just behind me? So I'm using the hands to push forwards, hip bones to push back. And then I also think about the front of your body from collarbone to ribs to pubic bone. Can we keep it straight? So I'm trying not to curve, I'm trying not to banana, I'm trying to keep it nice and straight. And a lot of that is from the hands, pushing forwards, but then also bending knees. So if you've got really tight hamstrings, if you straighten the legs, this will happen. So just by bending the knees, we can then create that space with the front of the body. So you might be on the balls of your feet with a little knee bend with those heels lifted. So there. So I really want you to witness the curves in your spine. So, taking your hands down off the floor, I've automatically gone wide. I thought, why not? So I would actually advise we all go a little bit wider, so slightly wider than shoulder width. Spreading your hands and taking your, have a little wiggle with your knees, settle into your kneecaps, tuck your toes under. And then take your awareness down the front of your body from your throat, past your collarbones, into your belly and into your hips, and just kind of notice what's going on. Keep your arms straight, but not keep your arms straight. Yes, it is keep your arms straight. Drop your chest down. So keep your arms straight, let your chest kind of sink towards the floor. Your shoulders draw together behind you, and then push down with your hands. Keep those arms straight, and just let your ribs rise up towards the ceiling. Just let your head drop. So you're going to feel those shoulders on the back of your body sliding outwards. And then drop your chest down, so keep those arms nice and straight, let your chest sink towards the floor. And then again, push with your hands, arms are straight, let your chest rise up towards the ceiling. So what we're doing here is over pushing and under pushing. So I want you to find that point where you kind of feel you've got kind of the right amount of support to hold you in your dog. So that kind of place in between. And then take your bottom down towards your heels. And then again, witness from the front of your body, from your collarbone to your pubic bone. Are we pressing chest forwards, maybe? Tends to be a little bit at this point. Notice your hands. If you feel like you're overstretching, maybe bring them in a little bit. Push, spread your palms, push your hands forwards, lift your knees up. So I want you to just kind of feel those hands are going to be ever pushing. And then uncurl, lifting your hips up and back towards the wall behind. Awareness to your pubic bone. Where is it? Can you roll your pubic bone almost through the legs? That's it. So if you straighten your legs, bend your knees, and then use those hands to push your hips up and back. So it's a little micro bend. That's it. Use your hands, keep pushing your hands towards the front of your back to lift your hips up and back. There you go. And then from there, notice your spine. What is your spine doing? Have you got a lumbar curve still? Have you got a roundness through your ribcage still? Have you got a little curve around the back of the neck? Fabulous. If you have all those things, then attempt to straighten your legs a little bit more. Just let your heels become nice and heavy, lengthening up. Have I worn you out? Sorry. I'm just watching it. And then from here, let's step ourselves into fold. Walk your feet towards your hands. Just let your belly round here. Take all those curves out the back of the body. Belly sinks onto the thighs. Relax through the back of your head. And then we're going to slowly rise to standing. Just push down through the feet. Feel your tailbone uncurl, come into standing. Right, what we're doing. So, we're going to take ourselves into a sun salutation. We're going to get these hips to take us into back bend. And I mentioned, didn't I, about fascia. You learned about fascia, I keep mentioning it, don't I? So when backline of fascia, one we're going to look at next week, I tend, like I say, if I'm not careful, I stand with my hips and like push forwards a little bit and you compress. So your tailbone's tucking down, your pubic bone's tilting upwards. But if you were to kind of look down your body to your knees, so like, oh, actually I've got a pocket in the seam, you can't really see it. But if I put my finger on my the top of my thigh bone, if I let my hips push forwards, my thigh bone kind of, if you hang the plumb line, is somewhere, the top of the thigh bone is somewhere just beneath my little toe. And then I can feel a bit of compression. And then if I bring my hips back, what I'm going to attempt to do is stack this hip bone over my ankle bone. So I'm just swaying my hips forwards, letting my belly kind of push out, and then I'm swaying my hips back. And just letting the spine follow that movement. So as those hips push forward, let the belly grow, let the heart lift, let the gaze rise up. And then as you push the hips back, just feel how you kind of transfer any weight towards the heels, and as you push your hips forwards, feel like you're doing the time walk, your toes press into the floor. And then what I'd like to do is start to witness this downward part of the down the lower half of the body. So I'm going to start to now think about, as I lean back, I'm just picturing that just behind my heels I've got a little line. And I want to now think of my tailbone just above the crease of my buttocks. I'm going to try to bring it back up that line. So I'm going to just bring those hips back. I can feel the shins coming back. I can feel the thigh bones begin to stack. And that pelvis comes to a stack. And then the body just kind of settles softly down over the knees and the ankles. Can you feel it? And you just tend to feel yourself just kind of resting into your bones. Curves have happened naturally. Do you notice your knees tend to soften slightly as well? Brilliant. So we're going to take ourselves into a sun salutation from this point. So just gently ease your hips back, look down to the floor. And then take an in breath and ease your hips forward, up. And take your hands up to the sky if that's comfortable, or to the lower back. Hips push back and slowly roll down towards the floor. Place your hands down on your shins, elbows bent. And then you straighten your arms. And you're going to use those arms to straighten your spine. So you bring in the crown of your head forwards towards this kitchen area where I am. Hips are pushing back towards the door. Bend your knees, and then from your pubic bone to your collarbone, is your spine straight? Are you curving down through the spine? Settle down into fold. Take your hands down towards your shins, down onto the floor, and we're going to walk ourselves back into downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back, push your hands forwards, again from your pubic bone to your collarbone. Lengthen out the front of your body. Then take your weight forwards into plank, so you might be walking your hands forwards too, you might be dropping those knees down. And then come down to the floor, knees, hips, belly, heart. Elbows bending down onto tummy. Sweeping the nose and look to the sky. Pushing with your hands, curl those toes under and rise back up into your downward facing dog, looking back towards the feet. We're just going to stay here 3 breaths. So spread your hands, that's it, witness from the front of your body. Collarbones, pubic bone, neck, ribs, lumbar. Fabulous. Really good work, everybody. And then let's take ourselves forwards into fold. So walking your feet forwards towards your hands. Take a bow over your legs. Soften down. Placing hands on shins with your next in-breath. Straighten the arms. Witness your spine again as though you were standing. How is your spine? Collarbones to pubic bones. Length here. Back of the body. All the way through the neck to the crown of the head. Length here. Soften down, full fold, and then rise up. Watch your pelvis. Allow that tailbone to tuck under, belly opens, heart lifts. And then think of that line at the back of your heels, guide your tailbone over the line, pelvis stacks, drop softly into the bone. Okay, so I want to work with the arms a little bit. So again, this idea of the fascia in front of your body. There is an arm line as well that when I'm doing the massage, we're learning all that again soon. But that can govern the front line of your fascia. So I'm calling this Jesus statue stance, but it's called Christ the Redeemer, I think. So I want to imagine that you're Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. Palms are up. It's not really good for your shoulders. It's been really helpful for mine actually. I've got a dodgy shoulder at the moment. So, we did it on the floor, didn't we? We turned those palms in, the shoulders rolled up. So, turn your palms down, and then roll over your hands again. So, you're turning it one more time. Notice in doing that your shoulders hunch, your neck gets a little bit tense. So, I just want you to just drop your head so you're looking down towards your floor. And then from here, roll the palms back up. to neutral. And just feel how your shoulders go down your back body and your heart. You can bring it back to neutral. Turn those palms down towards the floor. Turn them again one more time. Your shoulders kind of slide outwards across the ribs.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, you're very late.
Were you expecting me? No, look. Were you expecting yoga? Yes. Oh, Pilates, so I don't know.
No, turn your palms
Pilates,
up.
it's yoga.
Palm up and turn those hands back.
Yeah.
You can stay, but watch your arm. I'm going to take a little straight leg. Just walk.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I don't think I know anybody who's able to do that. How strange. So turn your palms down. And again, follow that movement. So as you're turning your palms down, you're going to feel your shoulders sliding outwards across your ribs. And again, that willingness for your head to bow. You're also kind of rounding your back, and that tension appears again through the front of your body. And as you turn those palms up, feel the shoulders descend down the back, heart begins to lift. If you then turn your hands back again towards the door behind, let your heart lift. And then again, turning palms down. And then again, round the spine. So again, you tighten the front of your body, hips shift back. Turn those palms back to neutral. And then again, so you want to roll the back one more time, heart lifts and your hips shift forwards. And then again, turn them down. Hips shifting back, you're tightening the front line of fascia in the tummy. Hands turn back up, and again, that heart begins to lift. And then just do it one more time, rounding. Just kind of moving ourselves to neutral. It's aggravating now because I've been finding it really helpful in one of my shoulders. Bring your hands down, and the reason I'm teaching this is because I want to take us into a posture called Pars. Everybody's doing this, called Parsvottanasana. And classically taught, it has this movement called reverse namaste in there. So should we try it? I don't know. So your palms are out, turning your palms down, slide your hands onto your sacrum. So just let your hips shift back a little bit. Fingers pointing downwards, palms downwards. And then you can see how you feel about turning the hands in to point towards your sacrum. And then if you were to shift your hips forwards over your toes, might be a little bit of space then to point those hands upwards towards the back, towards your shoulders. And then shifting your hips back, take those hands out wide, and again bring them back to centre. So hips are forwards, palms turn down, hips shift back, taking those hands onto the lower back. So again, fingertips kind of meeting. And then as you gently take those hips forwards, you might then be able to let the fingers go up a little bit towards this reverse namaste. And then again, take it back out, taking those hands back out. So if you can't do reverse namaste, don't worry about it. We're going to do something else, and then you can do that if you want to. So, step into the front of your mat. So as the teacher the other day in the skiing lesson was talking about pizzas, which is stopping, and chips, which is apparently going straight line and hurtling to your death in my case. So I'm imagining I've got skis on, and I'm just going to slide one foot directly back. So try not to turn one heel in. So slide one foot back. It might not be a very big stance. And then take your fingers onto the front of your pelvis. So if you take your fingers onto there, would you say your hip bones are level? Or would you say that one is back? And if one's back, it's just going to be that one of your heels is turned in a little bit. So you're just trying to get your hips level at the front. And then have a little bounce on your back foot. And that is your weighted leg. Your front leg mine's got a little bend in it today. And then I'm witnessing from collarbone to pubic bone, that sense of space. Back of the head down to tailbone, the sense of space. And then I'm going to take my hands and I'm placing them on top of each other. So I've got one at the heart, roughly speaking, and then one on the lower back. And what these hands are going to tell you is if you're doing something with your back. So we're going to tilt and try and keep those hands still. But what you might notice is sometimes if your spine is bending, if your heart is curling in towards your pelvis, that your hands part because your spine's doing the work. So we're going to try and fold, keeping those hands still. That's it. Crown of the head reaching forwards, that heels down, lengthening through the crown of your head, and your sit bones back. So just witnessing the front of your body all the way down. tend to notice here that the front foot is working really hard. It's pushing into the floor to stop you from falling. Spread the toes in your back foot. Press your little toe if you can towards the floor. Bend your right knee, press down with the foot and rise up to move back to standing. So, option 2 is to repeat. So we're going to take those hands together behind, interlace fingers, and then roll your shoulders round, back and down. So if your shoulders are round, kind of on the front of your body, it could be that your shoulders are forward a little bit, and you've got a bit of kind of that rounding that we've just been experiencing, and those hands turn that way. So shoulders on the back body. So again, tap your back heel, nice and planted. Front knee unlocked. Knee. Take an in-breath, witness front of your body and the back of your body. So we're just trying to do the same thing, but with those arms in a different position. Hinge from your hips, witness your belly, your heart, the crown of your head, and then you're pushing back with your knuckles. Push your hands towards the back of the room. So you're keeping those arms nice and straight. So you're slightly rounding. I want you just to bring your breastbone down. That's it. So you witness the front of your body from pubic bone to collarbone. Amazing work, everybody. Is your back leg bend?
Yeah, I have got such tight.
Don't go further. Basically, your back is telling you, your hamstring is telling you that you can do that. Straighten that up. You kind of call that such a kind of like back line of fascia, really, isn't it? As well as the front. Yeah. Often we're in these shapes, though we kind of lose sight of what we're doing a little bit. Bend your right knee, press and rise up. So if you don't like doing the reverse namaste, do any of those handprints. So this one, that one. So I'm going to take it towards reverse namaste. So I'm just going to take those hands around, palms together, pushing my hips forwards, taking those hands towards the lower back. So again, if it's uncomfortable, don't do it. And then from the front of your body, inhale, exhale, tilting. So again, we are witnessing from the pubic bone to the collarbone, trying to keep that sense of space right through the crown of the head. That's it. Keep the back leg nice and straight, back heel down. That front leg can be bent if it needs to. That's it. I won't go any further there, so I'm just keep reaching. Crown of the head forwards, hips back. And then let's just keep going. Soften all the way down. Take your hands down towards the floor. If your hands don't reach the floor, bring them onto your shin. Just allow yourself to kind of relax the back. And then we will bend that right knee, place the hands down and step your left foot towards fold, and then we can uncurl back to standing. Okay, so you know what's coming down, you've got an opposite side. So imagine you've got skis on, slide your feet back, hands to your hip bones. So again, if your hips tilted outwards, it could be your heels turned inwards. So again, you're trying to get your hips forwards. It's not a very wide stance, this posture. Stamp into your back heel, and then you witness collarbone to pubic bone, back line of your body, staying tall. Take those hands onto your lower back and ribs so you can witness, particularly the rib cage, what that is doing. As you exhale, tilt, witness the front of your body. What I do like about this is you feel the muscles in your back body are tightening. They are keeping that sense of tension down the back of your body to allow yourself to fold in this way. So just kind of witness the tension through the back of your body. So the back of your body has a relative amount of tension to stop you from falling over. That's it. Back heel down, still front leg can be bent. Just tuck your chin in. If you're looking towards the front of your mat, tuck your chin in. So think of the wrinkles at the back of your neck. If you're looking forward, you're going to feel creases. Let those creases disappear so you're looking just directly downward. Feeling the work through your front foot. Soft breath. Bend your left knee, press to rise up, and then roll your shoulders round, back and down, clasping your hands. Exhale, folding forwards again. So just for me, it's all about the pubic bone to belly button to heart, heart to throat, crown of the head. Watch all those points. That's it. The back leg straight. That's it. Pushing out for those muscles towards the wall behind. Bending your front knee, press to rise up. And then deciding whether or not you're going to do reverse namaste. So again, you've got that left foot forwards, palms are up. Shift your hips back a little bit so you lean. Palms down, hands come to sacrum, fingers pointing to your sacrum. As you shift your hips forwards, it might happen, it might be doing no thanks. So again, you can always change hand position. And again, witness through the front of your body, hinging. So again, from pubic bone to belly to heart, you're trying to lengthen the front of your body. That's it, beautiful work there. So that lengthening all the way through the front, down through your back foot. It's a massive movement. Shall we soften it down? So now just begin to let your belly sink down towards your thighs. Let your lower back round. Let those muscles do less. Take your hands down to shins maybe, down to floor maybe, wherever you want to go naturally. And then we'll come down to the floor. Yay! That's not me going yay, but you know, you might be good. When I say come down to the floor, it often gets a bit easier. She says, not. No, it does. I'd like to do a fold. Not fold, that's a lie. A lunge. So, have you worked out the thing yet? Fascia. So from front of your body, you've got, we're looking at front line of fascia, so from toes, shins, to here, and then front of your body. So what we're trying to do today is do movements which can keep length in there or create space in there. So the lunge we want to do next is going to create space. So we did that first movement, that flower movement, and we were tightening the tummy. And we did that, whatever it's called, I decided to call it the Christ Redeemer. There's a tightening, a hip shift back, we're tightening the tummy. So we're going to go the other way. So the lunge that I want to do is going to ask you to take, like in the same way as Cobra, hips are going to come forward, we're going to lengthen up, but we're going to do it on the floor. So if you've got a knee that needs padding, please place it under your left knee. So we're going to come to all fours. Your right foot is going to come forwards. So I've got long arms and a little shin, so I can get my hands either side. If you don't like that, you can always by all means put your hands on the inside. Then your left knee, if you were to imagine you've got a little, look at this, I've actually got equipment. Imagine you've got a plumb line hanging down from your left hip. Do you see how my left knee isn't under this hip? So it's not there, it's more there. Can you take your knee back so you can begin to let this create some extension there? So I'm just taking that, could you see that? See, it dangles down, not the other thigh. So you want that knee behind the front of your hip. So again, you're supporting your shoulders with your hands, and then you're allowing your weight to go into your front foot. So start to let your left hip sink towards the floor. Left knee comes back. You're resting into your hands. Fabulous. So just make sure your front heel's on the floor. And then whatever you do with your back foot is going to be for the comfort of your knees. If your toes tucked under, that might be fine. It might be allowing the back foot to rest on top of the floor, or whatever your knees say. And then you might kind of want to do this. Imagine you've got a clock on the floor in front of you, and your right foot is pointing to number 12. Lift up the toes and the ball of the foot and point your toes out to number 1 or number 2. And your knee tends to follow it. And then you can take your hands on the inside. You might even walk your foot slightly out to the right as well. This is going to find the inside edge of that right foot. So I pull there, you just back the toes and knees going in the same direction. Is this too much? Okay. See, I need this after Saturday. Okay, so use your right foot, push and hinge yourself back into child's pose. Sink down, let go of all the tension to that left hip, lower back sinks. Where is it too much? Is it your knees, at the actual movement itself?
Just leaning on the front step and that.
Yeah. Will you be alright on the opposite side? One thing you could do is you could go wide and do that.
No, I'm alright. I think I can do it. I can do it like at 90 degrees, but it's when I go back there.
Yeah.
It's better with this. So
Okay.
I'll bring.
So let's rise up and take ourselves to the opposite side. So take your left foot through between your hands. So you kind of put the foot in line with your hips. If your feet are together, kind of wiggle it out. Again, imagine that plumb line from your right hip. Where would it point? Directly down. Can you take your right knee a little bit further back, away from the front line of your hip? And again, you're finding the support through your hands, into your footprints. Relaxing that back foot if that is comfortable. So again, noticing anatomy. If your arms feel too short, you can always come onto fingertips, or maybe you can take that hand on the inside. Just really feel the support of your left foot, support of your hands. Kind of breathe in life and space through the right hip all the way down to the right knee. I promise you this is the worst pose you're doing today. Okay, so taking your hands to the inside edge of your left foot, and then looking at your left foot and imagine that it's pointing to number 12. Where would number 11 be? Where would number 10 be? Turning the foot outwards. You might even walk it slightly outwards. Again, feeling the weight through that front foot. So for me, I can feel the knees kind of forwards over the toes, the foot is supporting me, the hands supporting me. Allowing again everything just kind of soften into the support. And walk your foot out a tiny little bit to the left. Get that foot out a little bit to the left. I think we've done enough of it. Push out and sink your hips back and soften. I was going to make you do this leg wrestle, but actually I've learned a new pose and everybody got it last week and I adore it so much. And in terms of relevance to this line of fascia, it's the final part of it where you feel it. So, should we lay down? I should be happy that you work harder, people. Right, I'll show it you, and then I want us to take our time, not just because we've got 15 minutes left, but actually because there's a joy in the learning of doing it slowly. So, I just love how I'm dressed in. I need to wear different colour clothes. I just feel like I'm a black shadow to you on there. Right, what are they? So this is my feet. There they are together. I'm like relaxing. I am now picturing that my pubic bone and my toes are roughly lined up, and my toes are pointing, if I could picture it like a clock, downwards, number 12 again. I'm going to keep my feet on the floor, I'm trying to keep my back on the floor, and I'm just going to try and sway my feet across towards number 1. So I'm just pushing with my left foot, inching my feet over towards where 1 o'clock would be. So right now my right hip and right shoulder have kind of slid towards each other, but I'm on my back, I'm not twisted, everything's still grounded. And then I'm picturing where number 11 is. I'm just pushing with my right foot into my left foot, and then I've gone that way. And then I'm pushing, and pushing. So your hips swinging like a little pendulum. I'm speeding it up, so just go really slowly. I'll be watching you because I love this. Once we've done this a few times, and you've wiggled into your lower back a little bit, which is really amazing after going down a hill, screaming on my back at skiing. Just honestly, I need this. I'm pausing, And I'm standing my left foot up, and do you see I'm walking my right foot underneath my left knee. So my right knee's out, and my hands, I can touch my toe, but you don't have to. Anyway, so this is my left foot, I've lifted the heel up, and this is the twist, and this is what I love. I'm sliding the toes of my left foot towards my right knee, and then back again, and then resting. I'm just doing that a few times. And then I'm just going to go a bit further, and I'm bringing that foot around. Ooh, do you notice how I've twisted? Yeah, it feels amazing. Pelvis is turned. Whee! And then I'm sliding it back. And then I'm just doing that. And I'm doing that. And I love it. It's so good. And the reason this is relevant to this sequence is as I go into this twist, the space between my right knee and my left shoulder is very open. I've opened out this long fascia, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to do the other side. I love it, honestly. It's such a lovely look. What I love about it, actually, it activates into your hips. I hate using words like that, but it really gets these muscles working. It really gets your glutes kind of nice and strong. And also, there's a sense of release from here right across. Honestly, so many benefits to this sequence. So let's do it. And I promise I won't join in. Okay, I will when you're in your second round. So lay yourself down, make yourself nice and comfortable. Feet together, knees wide, as you're into Supta Baddha. Fabulous. And then picturing, imagine where your toes are, pointing down to number 12. Picture number 1 is on the right side of your mat, number 11 is on the left side of your mat. Just gently push through the sole of your left foot to inch your right foot, and you're petting your feet towards, and that's it, towards the number 1. Notice how your right side, shoulder and hip, are just kind of slid towards each other. Shoulder, yes, so you've shortened that right side. The left side's lengthened a little bit. Pushing against the sole of your right foot, feet come back to centre. Just keep pushing until your feet sway the other way. That's it, ankles, toes, everything. Slide the whole foot that way. That's it, like a little pendulum. Notice how you've shortened that left side of your body. Push in, foot against foot. Fabulous. And you're doing more for your feet, to the whole foot. Push foot against foot. Like a little pendulum. Notice your pelvis kind of swinging. Take your time. Really gets the side of your body moving, your QL. Oh my word, that's a grimace. What's that grimace about? Push it, honestly, more, do it for your feet. If you do it for your hips, it's really hard. Push for your feet, it becomes a little easier. That's it, push now with your right foot into left foot. If you're going too far, actually, after left is more, just do it a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And again, just push. Push. There you go. So shall we start to push our feet across to the right? So push your left foot against your right foot. And then stand your right foot up, so your right foot's planted on the floor, right knee's pointing to the ceiling. Slide your left foot behind your right ankle and slide it along the floor till that left knee is tipped outwards. Fantastic. And that left knee kind of points towards the bottom of the mat somehow, doesn't it, a little bit? So your right hand might touch your big toe. If you can, you might want to keep it like that. You might not. You can always let go of it. So let in fact, should we not? And then we can always add that in. Yeah. So just let go of it. So now notice your right heel on the floor. Just to lift the right heel up so you're now on the toes and the ball of your right foot. Picturing that foot's like it's got a piece of chalk underneath it. And just want you to kind of slide that right foot just towards the space in front of your left knee. And just pause from there. And then slide your right foot back to where it started. You can even drop the heel down and rest. Then lift that right heel, slide the right foot towards your left knee. And then slide that right foot back and drop the foot down and rest. And just do that a few times. Just get used to it. Make it light, make it easy. So keep your foot on the floor, keep your foot on the floor, that's it, keep your toes on the floor. So just let your ground, the ground is there to support the posture. And then gradually, to start to take the foot beyond the knee and towards your left thigh. And just let your pelvis turn. Let your belly turn towards the left. And then slide that foot back, place the heel back on the floor. Let your pelvis rest, settle onto your back. Slide that foot around. Slide the foot back. So just let your toes dangle and drape on the floor. Keep your shoulder on the floor, so that's it, so you can always let go. That's it, just let your hands push away. That's it, yep. So if you can keep on the foot, you're very welcome to. That's it, let the knee come round. You might feel very happy about relaxing that knee into twist. So slide your foot all the way around. That's it, let the knee second twist, shoulders fall back. And in any points of movement, there's different degrees of, of like not going so far, of like, you don't have to hold the hand, the foot. If you want to hold the foot, you've gone into a pose called cat catching tail. If you're not holding the foot, you're just doing a really lovely twist. Do you see what I mean about it? So I think it's such a nice twist. But you might want to hit it when you move, I don't know. So when you're ready, so you can settle into twist if you like, or you might kind of have had enough of that and want to settle onto your back. So when you're ready, uncurl and settle your feet out into space in front of you. Just pay attention to your right side, right hip, right shoulder. And then bring the big feet, bring the soles of the feet together. We said big toes, we turn out as big feet. Bring the soles of your feet together, slide your feet in, picturing that clock in front of you, and then push your feet across to where towards 1 o'clock, and then stand your from the wrong leg, push your feet the other way, there you go. So you push your feet towards 11 o'clock, stand your left foot up, so your right foot is now in that little space behind your left heel. Yeah. So standing your left foot up. That's it. Right foot goes into that space behind your left heel, so there you go, there you go. And again, you might be able to take your hand down to big toe, but you don't have to. Lifting your left heel up, keep the toes on the floor, and slide your left big toe over towards your right knee and slide it back. So keep your toes on the floor. You've got a long thigh bone. You have on you, get in the way. Press the thigh bones. That's it. And starting to gradually take that movement deeper into the twist. So just going beyond the knee, taking the foot over to the right, towards that right thigh. Let your pelvis turn. And just kind of notice from the knee to the hip, to the shoulder, the sense of space. So again, you can make the twist as small or as large as you need it to be. I don't mean it gets all those muscles working, and I just love that sense of space from across the sacrum down to the knee. When you're ready, maybe settle into the twist, come out of the twist. And then slide your feet towards the end of the mat. Become aware of the back of the body, the left side this time, from heel to hip to shoulder. And then become aware again of the curves, the back of the body, back of the neck, rib cage, shoulders, lower back, hip. And then settling into your breath, moving back into the breath we commenced the lesson with. So as you take your in-breath, kind of notice where your in-breath wants to end. Turn your breath around, breathing out, and then just notice it when you breathe out where your out-breath wants to end. And just do that a few times, just let your breath be easy, try not to push. And then maybe on the next in-breath, rather than stopping at your natural end point, just take a little bit more breath in and allow the ribcage to expand a little bit more. And as you breathe out, just let At the end of the breath, pull the navel into the spine. Notice that more breath comes out, squish more breath out of the body. And then relax the belly, just to let the breath come into the body like a little sponge. And then just let that little bit more breath come into the rib cage, into the lungs. Turn the breath around, let the breath just soften out, ooze out gently, and towards the end of the out breath, pull the navel into the spine. Relax the belly, let the breath come in just naturally. And bring in that little bit more. Just take it into your own natural rhythm. So it's a passive and then unpassive. Passive. Not the unpassive word, is it active? You're just tuning into the elasticity of your breath. And what I do like about this, and just in letting that little bit more breath come into the ribs, you can notice, little areas where kind of almost like the body's forgotten. Expanding into bits of the shoulders that we might have forgotten. Into the back. When you've had enough of that breath, just let it go. And settle into your natural rhythm. If you enjoyed it, carry on. So when you're ready, just think now of your breath, imagine it on a little journey, imagine it travelling in through your right hand, across the chest, across the left shoulder, down the left hand and out. And picture yourself breathing in through the left hand, across the chest, and out through the right hand. And just do that a few times. Picture the journey of your breath. The next time you breathe out of your right hand and you want to breathe in again, imagine the breath now also travels up your right foot to your pelvis, to the shoulder, out through the left hand but also out through the left foot. Picture yourself breathing in through the left foot, the left hand, to pelvis, to heart, and then out through the right hand, the right leg. Just do that in your own time, breathing in right, out left, in left, out right. The next time you take a breath in, arrive at your nose, think of your breath rising up towards the crown of your head. And as you breathe out, it travels down through the arms, down through the feet. So in yoga, we think of our energy as having direction. We have prana that rises upwards, apana that sinks downwards. Just kind of picture it. As you're breathing in, you're bringing life, vitality, nourishment upwards to the heart, to the head. And as you're breathing outwards, you're just sinking out, tension, used energy downwards, apana. One of the poses we sometimes do when we hug our knees into our belly is called apanasana. It's the wind relieving pose. You do it to children when they've got they've got sore bellies. Please don't let wind go out, but that's the idea. This air is coming down and pushing out through your feet. Don't know why I planted that seed in your head there, sorry. I was going to make you go into apanasana now, but I won't. So when you're just actually, you kind of want to bring your knees in towards your body. It might feel really nice in your lower back. And then in a moment or two, just drop your feet onto the floor and just gently ease your tailbone forwards into the floor and your lower back into the floor. And hopefully there's a bit more mobility in that lower back, in the pelvis, into the heart. And then we can find our way to seated. I'll stop me little video.